Lighthouse Park was never logged, so these veteran trees, old-growth Douglas fir and western red cedar, are, as I say, they're about 500 years old. And then growing beneath them in the understory are other cone-bearing trees like western hemlock and western red cedar again, and also some deciduous trees like the great big leaf maple. I've lived there 32 years. I've just recently retired as the park attendant. I looked after the park itself. I'm still the groundskeeper at the Lighthouse at Point Atkinson. Well, to the larger community, of course, is individually as recreational park. People are attracted to it because it's a lovely hiking forest down by the shore. The other thing is it's become known as a very important classroom for students of all kinds of things like ecology, geology, biology, marine biology. It's well used by the local universities because, in point of fact, the ecosystem is two ecosystems which overlap. So there's more examples of species there than you find in just, say, the coastal western hemlocks ecosystem or the coastal Douglas fir. Here you have the two overlapping, so you have many, many more examples of a more diverse species. Well, of course, the reason that we've lost species and things are changing sadly, it always comes down to human behavior, I guess. All the adjacent areas to Lighthouse Park are now developed into residential areas. So there's a loss of the connecting corridors. The green corridors are no longer there in some of the creeks. So the animals can't migrate as readily, the individuals and the species. Such as one of the reasons, like we lost the grouse. The grouse only fly short distances, so for them to get back up to the mountain in the winter is very difficult now because of all this development and highways in between. The changes I've seen, of course, are that there's more and more people coming to the park, and it's really apparent on very fine, dry days. A lot of the trails now need restoration work along the trail edges, and that's actually started to happen, but it's not keeping pace with the rate of degradation. So the impact of foot traffic, both human and canine, has widened the trails, as I mentioned before, and also created new undesignated pathways, and so it fragments the actual terrain of the park, the actual forest floor of the park. When you have constant foot traffic, even just scuffing off a clump of moss from a cliff will destroy in minutes what's taken many years to develop. So that space then becomes bare or disturbed ground, and it opens the way then for invasive species. So instead of seeing the chocolate lilies or the Easter lilies there in the carpet beds, you're going to see instead dandelions or false dandelions or another shrub called Scotch broom. The only way it's going to be protected really is through better education, more awareness. Once people understand or know about things, then they appreciate them more. They're not going to pick a wild lily because it looks pretty when they know that it takes 6 years for this flower to develop its seeds to bulb. You know, there must be more consideration for some kinds of limiting of access, especially to things like, say, dogs. Could it be limited by area? Could they be just in a certain part of the park? Or could they be only on leash, or only on leash certain days of the week or seasonally? These kinds of things will have to be considered if the park is to be protected.